Welcome back to Watch Your Mouth,
where therapy beats culture.
where we're raw,
Real, and rooted in healing.
So, today we're having a conversation about the soft life.
Yeah, you've been talking about that, like really having a desire for softness, to welcome in a little luxury into your life in ways that you can not feel like it's something wrong when you rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're challenging some of the ideas about the aesthetic of what a soft life is versus the reality of what it means to create softness, rest, rejuvenation in our own lives in real ways, not in Instagrammable TikTok versions of the way. It's not about what it looks like, but about how it feels and what it actually does for us.
Yeah, because I think even in showing you some of the people that I follow on Instagram, what I notice when people talk about these individuals that are part of the soft life or the soft life wives club that's out there now in social media, I think some of the response that I'm getting in individuals following what a soft life is and how it's being represented in social media is this idea that somehow, because people can't achieve those particular things, then there's no way they can have softness or a soft life.
And quick reminder, hi, Dr. Kevin Hall, licensed marriage and family therapist, educator, private practice owner.
Hey, Dr. Monica, Pierce Counseling and Consulting Services owner and founder, also an educator in counseling.
And so, we are your sister friends. And so we're here today to talk about what does it look like to cultivate a little bit more softness. And I think your point is an important point to consider, right? That there are lots of different ingredients that are involved in creating a soft life. What are the ingredients that you already have at your disposal? And then what are some new ones that maybe you haven't considered might actually apply for you? It might be a really good fit.
I think what would be good is to post in the comments what you believe is the soft life, because maybe we can even start there with the definition that everybody is creating for themselves. This idea of, my man has to own a boat, or we have to take a European cruise, or I don't know, I have to have a bubble bath every night that is drawn for me and my slippers waiting for me at the door in order for me to say that I have a soft life. When really we're talking about stepping into a different kind of mental wellness, especially for folks that expend so much energy. Moving out of survival mode might be a good representation of a soft life for many people.
Exactly, because that's what I'm thinking about when I think about our conversation here together about creating a soft life, right? That it's really creating a life that you want to live, not a life that you're forced to live, right? Something that feels good to you, something that is rejuvenating for you. And so I do think it's helpful to start thinking a little bit about what have we been told is a soft life versus the kind of life, again, that we want to create. And so I know for me, one of the ingredients is ease. And then ease to me goes hand in hand with peace. That those are two, I don't know, in the proportions of all the tea leaves that make up a soft life, right?
Those components have to be there.
I need some ease and I need some peace.
Yeah, and I think along with that, what I need is some guilt-free rest.
Yes.
What happens frequently with the clients that I see is them understanding that what they're doing isn't sustainable because of the amount of hours they put in work, because they're multitasking often, because they're, consistently trying to keep up with the list that they've made. They're driving themselves into the night. And sometimes when they do accidentally fall asleep, they wake up feeling guilt-ridden. There isn't this actual rest where they're able to lay down what they anticipated being able to do and allow themselves what you don't even have to earn. This idea of you got to earn some sleep. I got to work hard in order to take a break. Like, those things are granted to you just by virtue of you being an adult and moving through so many tasks in a day.
I mean, rest is granted to you by virtue of you being human, right? We need this period where we give ourselves time to just be, right? And so what you just said, I think I want to highlight or emphasize even more, right? There isn't something that you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to multitask rest. It is okay to slow down, to turn off, to be. And this is an opportunity for us to really, again, talk a little bit more on how can we be more supportive in that process. I completely agree with you. I think that this fast-paced world that we live in, I think that the machine of capitalism that suggests that you have to work hard in order to earn the right to rest has infected us all, right? Like that is definitely the way that I think about it, right? That it is sort of the conditions of the water in which we swim in, and that it's impossible to swim in water that's been polluted and not ingest some of the toxins. And so when I think about reorganizing and redefining what we think about a soft life, it would include acknowledging that there's some toxins in this water that make me believe I've got to earn rest, that rest is a reward, that slowing down means I'm being lazy. And we get this opportunity to, again, redefine that, because that's not true. But the machine wants you to believe so that way you keep proving yourself, you keep hustling, you keep grinding. And here's the thing, we get it. We get why that's there. None of us escapes that, and none of us chose it.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
That's the context in which we live in. I mean, it was the system that we live in, number one, is broken. And it is really there to lead you to believe something that isn't true. That somehow, if you do enough, learn enough, own enough, have enough, that somehow you'll be given some kind of a pass. Like somehow you'll be elevated in status, and that you'll be more respected. There'll be less oppression. Somehow racism will just disappear because you'll be in a stratosphere different from, just the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing according to these rules and regulations that the system created. But that's white supremacy, and it's led to make you believe somehow you don't deserve something unless you're falling out because you've worked so hard. It has led many a Black woman to believe that her value, her worth, her dignity is wrapped up in what she actually gets done.
Absolutely. And we know for so many Black men, their ideas around their worth is completely tied up in what it is that I do, the kind of job that I have, and the kind of money that I make, that if I made more money, I would be more valuable and more respected. And we really want to make sure that you hear us when we say this. But these are lies. You are already worthy. You are already valuable. You are already important. And what we want to do is, again, pause the erosion that these other messages create in our lives. Because again, cultivating some more softness, cultivating rest, cultivating rejuvenation, right? These are things that you have a right to, a God-given inherent right. You do not have to do more to earn it. But we know it's hard to practice.
Yeah. And I think Tricia Hersey, who is an author, a scholar, an educator, an advocate, an artist. She has coined the term the nap minister, or the ministry itself. Wrote a book, Rest is Resistance, a couple of years back, and also a workbook. What she highlights for us all is that in order for healing to happen, yes, we need community, but we also need a creative space that we make. This is the access to additional capacity. Capacity building is necessary in order for you to hold and to retain healing for yourself. And that can only happen when you create a portal. And the portal, according to Tricia Hersey, is created through rest. And so even as a person who fundamentally wants to fight for what's right, considering everything that's going on in the world today, even as a person who is a liberatory practitioner and you're fighting for the rights of others, a social justice practitioner, you want things to be equitable, you still need to have some rest. Like in the midst of everything that you do and all the things that you are, you have to refuel. You are a functioning system that still needs certain foundational things. And one of them is rest. And part of that, according to Tricia Hersey, is resistance. So when we rest without guilt, without shame, without begrudging ourselves an opportunity to refuel, that's the soft life. For real.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful way to think about that, right? I had a session this morning where this came up multiple times, right? The idea that refueling somehow, it became such a vulnerable idea that if I was strong enough, that I shouldn't require that. Wow. And the person didn't overtly name it that way, right? It happened as we were talking. And once they heard themselves, they stopped because they realized that, wait a minute, I've got these other things in the way between those two connections, but at the heart of it, that's what it is. And so when they heard themselves, they were like, logically, that doesn't make any sense. I would never just drive my car forever and ever and ever and expect it to keep going, because that's not possible, right? And emotionally, though, we can, again, take in these messages and then set up these impossible conditions that are literally inhumane. Of course we need to refuel. Of course we need to rest. Of course we need to be poured into. And we get that we have the opportunity now more than ever to see that as what it is, which is your point, right? Around this is also about resistance. This is also about liberation. This is also about healing. This is also about community building. And I personally, I'm grateful to be in this time and space where the soft life is being redefined in this way, right? As not something that I have to buy, as not something that I have to earn, but it's something that I'm already worthy of and deserving of. And it's something that's not just a gift to me, but it's also a gift to others that I'm in community with, right? Because I'm not resting at your expense. Right. I'm not rejuvenating at your expense. Yeah. I am doing that for us all and hopefully with us all.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that, going back to Tricia Hersey, was so magical about the NAP ministry, this was prior to her putting it down on paper. She used to have art exhibits where individuals would come together and sleep. Like this was her opportunity to advocate, to resist the idea that art has to look a certain way, to be creative, and in community to create that portal for everyone to be able to move through to build additional capacity for each other. So as you talk about this idea that I am not resting at your expense, I'm resting to hold space for all of us to build capacity for community, to make sure we continue to have connection. You know, that was demonstrated with some of the art exhibits that she had.
Yeah. And I love that, right? Because it fits right into what she was talking about. To think about doing something creatively, to say, we're going to create the conditions and we're going to create the container for you to rest safely. And so when I think about, and I gave someone homework around this morning, that some of us, because of the different experiences that we've had, we can talk about systemic oppression, right? We can talk about racism, we can talk about patriarchy, we can talk about white supremacy, we can talk about capitalism, we can talk about ableism, we can talk about heterosexism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that cause us to feel unsafe, right? And then we can also talk about our lived experiences. Some of us have had health scares that have caused us to feel unsafe in our bodies. Some of us have lived in environments and homes where there's stress in the moment. And so some of us have work pressures, right, that are keeping us awake late into the night because if X, Y, and Z doesn't get done. And one of the unique things that we can do is take back our rest. And so this morning, as I was talking to my client, we talked a little bit more literally about what does this look like, right? My client was saying that they've, like so many of us do, get into bed, I'm overwhelmed, my brain is working overtime, I can't shut it down. What do? Pick up the phone. And what we know from the research is, even though it makes sense why we reach for it, it's unhelpful that the light coming from the phone activates, right, all of our stuff around waking up, mimicking the sun, so it prevents us from feeling sleepy when we actually are, right? That social media, in whatever shape or form, has us wanting to make connections at a time that we actually need to disconnect so we can start falling asleep.
Such a good point.
Right? And every one of us has done this, whether it's been on the phone, it's been with a book. You have that long blink, and next thing you know, at least I know this happened to me, I've hit myself in the face with my Kindle. Right? Which means I was sleepy before that happened, and I pushed it away. Right? I denied and tried to reject sleep. And so one of the things that we can consider is, how do we want to create better sleep hygiene?
Oh, that's such a good point.
We do this with our babies, we do this with our children, and we try to set up the conditions for them to have good sleep. Right? We give them that countdown, it's almost time for bed. We enter into this process of relaxation. You know, one of the things that I so appreciated as a little kid, and I'm still this way, like I love a massage. But the truth of the matter is that I don't. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? I like a hot stone massage because I don't really want to be all these. No, what I like is for someone else to lotion me, right? And I think a lot of people like that, actually. But as adults, we don't often have, especially like non-sexual touch, opportunities for that kind of just nourishing of the body, of like a nice rub, right? And so we talked a little bit about sleep hygiene and creating a ritual. Because as a little kid, before bed, you would take your little bath, right? Then my mom would come in and lotion me up and lotion me down, right? Put on your jammies. I might read my little book before bed. But I set up the conditions were set up for me to go to sleep well. You have a right to set up those kind of conditions for yourself.
That's the soft life.
Yes.
Having a ritual for bed. You know, soft music. I remember going into my bedroom when I was younger, and there would be the regular light, and then there would be that other light underneath, like the main lamp, that was like a soft light.
Yes.
Where you could see your way to the bed, but that's it. You wouldn't be able to read a book or, you know, find anything that you may have dropped in the carpet. But it was setting the mood. And, you know, we laugh about, you know, people setting the mood when there is intimacy. And I think that's an intimate space that you can create as part of your soft life. This ritual that brings you back to touching yourself with some really nice lotion, lighting a candle. Now that we're adults, we're not worried about the fire, having a softer light, you know, setting the mood with something soft and easy, so that maybe there are no lyrics in the music before you take that warm shower and put on something that you're going to wear to bed. You know, maybe, you know, instead of waiting an entire week to change the sheets on your bed, you change them every 3 days, so that every couple of days you're getting into some fresher, cleaner sheets that have that cool feeling. You climb in and you close your eyes. You do a countdown. You know, once upon a time they used to advertise, and I forgot the name of the brand of the mattress, but with sheep. The person would be laying down and there would be sheep that was jumping over their head. So this idea of a good countdown. Yeah, so I feel like we're moving further and further, being adults, grinding, carrying burdens that don't exist to us. So let's name the trauma that's in the room. Well, most of us have that, and that's why we procrastinate, why we can't go to sleep, why our mind is racing. We feel anxious because we're worried about something that either has happened that we have no control over, or that hasn't happened and we don't know what is going to happen. We're moving further and further away from giving ourselves some time to remove what happened that day from our mind and just be in the moment. Something smells good, the light is soft, my eyes are getting heavier, I feel clean, I got on some great pajamas, the sheets are clean, I'm climbing in, the room is the perfect temperature, it's nice and dark. So just these things that we practice with children, and we feel like are very important to the ritual of sleep. And we, I don't know, have amnesia when it comes to those things when we're adults.
you reminded me of something that I've talked about with another client, and I'll be honest, something that I've absolutely experienced myself, which is sometimes I'm not rejecting sleep because I don't want sleep, but I'm rejecting sleep because I haven't had a chance to rest before it's time for sleep. So then going to sleep feels like punishment.
Yeah, like I missed something.
Right, and it's true.
Yeah.
Because of how hectic our day is, the thing that I missed was time for self. Right?
Such a good
so
point.
I didn't get a chance to decompress, relax, sort of just be with myself before I'm supposed to just like go to bed, right? I'm supposed to like do it the right way. And so I think when we have these kinds of conversations, we also reveal things that we don't always realize are true about what's our day looking like.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if we're talking about a ritual before bed, but now we got to start talking about a ritual that happens around how do we end our work day? How do we step into me time? Right? Because it is very hard to end your work day at 9 o'clock and then be ready to go to bed at 11 o'clock. It makes sense why you might feel a little bit of resentment.
Sure.
And say
like
things.
I missed something.
Right.
Like all I did was work today.
Exactly.
What about the time for me?
I didn't even get a second.
Yeah.
I sat on the couch. Next thing I knew it was 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's time to go to bed. It's like, damn, it's like when your mother comes out and turn the TV on.
Exactly.
It's time to go to bed. You hear that in your it resonates.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
And then you end up with the protest, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to binge watch this Netflix show all 4 seasons tonight.
Well, first of all, I'm grown now.
Yeah, I can do what I want to do.
I can stay up, right? And cause who gonna tell me?
Who gonna check me, boo?
Okay, but the next thing you know, that alarm goes off at 7 in the morning, and you are mad.
So mad.
Because you didn't even get into REM.
It's like, what is
right?
going on at 7 already?
And so now I got punished before. I'm getting punished again, and we get caught in that kind of a cycle.
It's a cycle. Yeah, so it would be really interesting. A couple of things that you can put down in the chat. I know originally we talked about what you believe the soft life was. So I know, you've been busy kind of writing out those thoughts around, yachts and vacations and spending money and, having a nice, So now that, we've removed the fact that you actually have to pay money, I wonder what you would write if you could create a soft life for free. Like what is that 1 or 2 or 3 things you would give yourself for softness to build capacity, to give yourself grace and rest that would qualify as a soft life?
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see what you all write as you write down. Don't forget to like and follow us, and keep the conversation going as we talk.
I don't know about you all, but in hearing that question, like I felt myself do a deep inhale and a deep exhale, right? Like what are my ingredients to a soft life? What would that really look like? And then you put that caveat in there, for free, right? I already have access to this. I don't need to buy anything else. And I think that's an excellent challenge. And I hope that what we learn together in our community in the comments, are ideas that we can share amongst each other. Because I'm going to be looking in there to see what y'all are suggesting, to see, can I try that too?
Yeah, because I'm sure there's quite a few things that are around the house that you say you're going to utilize. That foot massager. Some people have a foot soaker. You can fill that with water and put your feet in it and turn the vibration on. Some people have that chair that they purchase that's supposed to be the reading nook, and you keep saying you're going to, boil some water and have some tea and stare out the window. Yeah. There's so often, I have a friend that has an ottoman in every room, that there's a couch or a chair. Oh. So there's a chair in the corner with an ottoman. There's a couch with an ottoman. And, I just wonder how often they actually sit in those spaces and put their feet up. Like that is definitely the soft life.
You know what that reminds me of? Okay. So growing up, right? I don't know about y'all, but we definitely were not allowed to be using the living room.
Oh my God.
Right?
That room.
Like you were not using that living room because that was a room for company. And now we did not have company enough to be using that living
It's a
room
whole
regularly,
room,
right?
just for people who hardly came over.
Exactly. But it makes me think about that, right? Like how in the way that we're sort of living, you know, what things have we designated for the living room that's only for special occasions? The same way you were talking about your friend in the Ottoman, that it's free 99 to sit in the living room, to sit on that couch that is pristine after 10 years because it's only been sat on 10 times. Right? Like what in our lives are we treating in that way? Like it's so precious it can't be used, when what's precious is today and our lives right now.
I inherited some stemware.
Did you?
From my great-grandparents. Beautiful, very ornate, unnecessary for the way I live now, with a lot of takeout and every once in a while a good meal, but definitely not a bottle of wine during the week. And I pull it out on occasion.
Nice.
I pull it out, I fill it up with soda, and I put my feet up and sit and watch television, sipping on soda in this beautiful, ornate stemware. I recreate soft life by granting myself permission for something that, generally speaking, is waiting until I have somebody come over.
Right. This idea that the special occasion is right now. It is today. Which, you know, as you talk, right, it is challenging this idea that there's not enough, right? That I'm keeping this for a special occasion because there's not going to be enough to share. But here's the thing. You having drank out of that goblet today doesn't preclude you from serving something out of it in 3 days.
Right. I hope I haven't washed in 3 days if somebody comes over and I set the table with that ornate stemware.
You get to do it again. And I think it's so silly in some ways, but I know I have struggled with that. I am someone who I'm still working. I'm a work in progress, right? But that is something that was really hard for me. And so, you know, if I got something that I loved, that meant I did not use it, right? So new underwear. I'm not wearing that without a special occasion. What are you talking about, right? New perfume.
I'm saving it.
Right, I'm saving it for that thing. My sister came over one day and was like, "This thing smells like straight alcohol. What are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Let's be clear, I hadn't opened it in years. Goodness. One of them, I can't even tell you how old that perfume was. My part of it was the tenderness of it. Like my granddaddy had given me this perfume. Okay, so I was probably like 13.
Oh no!
And I never seen it anywhere else. That was the other thing. It wasn't like I'm gonna date myself, right? But it wasn't like it was like one of these like some Elizabeth Arden Red Door or something that you used to be able to get all over the place. Anybody who knows what I'm talking about, put it in the comments, okay? Because back in the day, we know.
Calvin Klein.
Okay, my mom wore a Red Door every day for
Elizabeth
years.
Arden. Gloria Vanderbilt.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
We gotta have one just naming the names that everybody wanted.
Back in the day. But like this idea versus being like, you know, I can put this on and smell good every day and I can think of you every day, right? So I am real curious in the comments. What are people gonna say? Who else is breaking out the stemware and you know that's an area you absolutely treat yourself in? And then you're gonna be looking for somebody else's who's like, that special occasion candle. I'm lighting that thing, right? So,
because I think it can impact your mental wellness. I think when we think about, you know, all the things that we carry and hold that are heavy and that are hard, giving ourselves an opportunity to have some softness, it eases the discomfort of having had those experiences. And I think it also allows us to experience what real resilience is. And it's not necessarily how often we bounce back from something that was significantly difficult. And instead, it's how do you build capacity? You know, in what ways do you make space for a balance? Because, you know, more than one thing can be experienced at once through something that you're walking through or even holding. And there is space for you to offer yourself some gentleness, to find some, as you like to say, collect some pieces of joy along the way, and to also build some capacity, because we know yesterday was not the last hard day we'll ever have. If it was hard yesterday, today is not the last hard day you will have if it's a hard day today. And what you want to ensure, and what I share with my clients all the time, is that you are consistently building capacity, because as you move through this hard thing, there will inevitably be another hard thing that you're going to have to face. And so I think those are important things to remember. How can we grant ourselves permission to have a little bit of soft life?
That's right. And you bring up something that's really important that I imagine we'll continue talking about, right? This idea that resilience is something that you're born with or you're not, right? That resilience is either on or it's off. And what I'm hearing you say is that every day we have an opportunity to add to our capacity to be resilient, which is our ability to respond, to bounce back after hard things. But if I wait until the day that I'm starving to collect food, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But if I had been putting things away every day, then the day that I'm hungry, I've got choices that I can pull from. I have things that I can use at the time. And so it's true. We've had hard days in the past, there will be hard days in the future. But when we do this, we're better equipped and better prepared to go, okay, I remember what that hard day feels like. This works for me. This helped me. This was supportive, right? And we also get the practice of going, I let that person talk me into doing this thing. And it's not good for me. I don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
I love it when I'm on social media, right? And I love getting those posts where people remind you about what am I working for and how am I working. Is today a day that I need to show up and go above and beyond? Perhaps not. Is today a day where I'm going, above and beyond? What is the other expression? I'm going to take on more. I'm going to do all these things. And no, maybe today is not that day. Maybe today is the day where you're like, I don't want an extra challenge for no pay and no recognition. I'm going to just work well, and I'm going to do as expected. That is more than okay. It is okay to say no. I'm not in a position to take on new tasks. And that can be true at work. That can be true in our relationships and our friendships. I'd love to hang out tonight. Today's been a really long day, and today's a day where I need to recharge alone, right? And the opposite could be true. I've been spending a lot of time alone. I recognize that, my social battery is low, and that part needs to be recharged. And so somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, I know you're real busy, but are you willing to come over? Are you willing to do that thing? And you go, I know that's going to be helpful. I know that's going to give me a buoy that I need, right? And even when we're a little bit tired, we might challenge ourselves to do that because we know we're going to receive energy and also give energy.
Yeah. And to not begrudge, shame, or feel guilty about either one of the choices that you make, because it's going to change from day to day. So don't should on yourself.
That's right.
About what you make a decision to do, because you can always change your mind. That's free.
That's the thing. It's like a door. You walk out, walk back in.
You can change your mind. I think this is a good place for a sisterhood check-in.
I think so too.
Where do you crave softness in your life?
Quick reminder for you all, Sister Girl check-ins. Are we doing a jingle? Are we singing? What are we doing? What's our indicator for this? We need your help.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
Also think about answers to this question for yourself, right? Because it's not just a me and Monica question.
Yeah.
It's a us and y'all, you and us.
It's a we. We're asking the question
together.
Yeah, it's about communication.
Ooh.
And where in your life do you crave the softness?
I crave long, slow mornings.
Ooh.
Mornings where I don't have to be someplace at a specific time. I don't have an appointment.
I don't have
Yes, right? Like I don't have an obligation or responsibility where I could, and I do this rarely, and so this is something I need to do a better job of, where I don't set the alarm. I just allow myself to wake up when I wake up. I have some tea. I just stay in my jammies. And I get a book and I move from the bed to the couch and I just read or I just journal. I just take some time to be.
Yeah.
And be to myself and with myself before it's time for me to be with others.
I like that. I like that a lot because it sounds like these are gifts that you give yourself, these pockets of time where you get to decide what happens next in the moment as it's happening.
Yeah. And I want to welcome more of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me, for your question, I'm wondering, emotionally and spiritually,
Ooh.
what would you like to add in? What ingredients might you pull in to further cultivate softness?
Oh, definitely. So I know I practice Buddhism, and part of that is the practice. The other part of it is the study. And so for me, reading more about how to deepen my connection with others and the universe, to have more understanding of the profundity of the practice that I have, is definitely ways to build in softness, because I have to slow down long enough to read. I have to allow myself time to read, so I'm gifting myself some time and space, and there's a lot of really good energy that comes out of that. So yeah, that's definitely how I would build that in.
That's really beautiful, and I think it's beautiful to consider softness and spirituality, right? Which I think that there's definitely a link there, and then within how you're thinking about things spiritually, you're talking about like what's the learning that comes, and then what's the being that happens because I'm learning and because I'm continuing to wrestle and deeply engage in my spirituality.
Yeah, because that's definitely a resource for mental wellness for a lot of people.
Yes.
And we ground ourselves in an understanding of how the universe works and how we're connected, and the gifts that we get when we pray. And so I think for me, in addition to praying, being able to understand that connection even more gives me space for softness and care.
Absolutely. It makes me think, we've been talking about, additional things that our community has been asking us for, and one of them has been a conversation about spirituality.
Yeah, we got to do it. And so we got to do
it. It's a great place to
and maybe even have a guest.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to some folks, right?
Yeah, for sure, because we don't know it all. That's why we always ask you all to share with us what you know. That's right. We can expand that.
So, put in the comments maybe some questions that you have or some feedback that you have around our upcoming episode where we'll talk a little bit more about spirituality. So look for that. It might be a season 2 thing. So we'll see. Right?
Stay in touch.
All right, y'all. Take care. Thanks for joining us, and watch your mouth.
Bye-bye.